my gosh, I almost didn't pick up my chaos over, bro.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cool Guys Nation. Pardon the horrible noise that I am about to make. Excuse me. We have switched to our headphones. Man, oh man, why were we late? We were late because Josh and I were arguing hard. It was barely civil. Well, that was part of the whole thing. That was part of the plan. That was clear from the beginning that was gonna happen. Welcome to another episode of Peyton Chat with Big Aaron, Little Aaron, Shosh, and Josh. We are all together, which is fantastic. We have a bunch of things that we're going to be talking about today. First of all, major rule update for GW, which kind of changes everything. It's kind of not a little thing. It's kind of a giant thing that I think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about. That, of course, is the core attribute that's been added. The word core as an attribute has been added, and it greatly affects things. And I think that it might undermine a bunch of Sean's excitement, but we can go into whether or not that's true or not here in a minute. We are also going to be talking about the PlayStation 5. We're going to be talking about Battle Sisters VR. And then after we talk about Battle Sisters VR, we're going to talk about the Oculus Quest 2 because it looks like it is only coming out on the Oculus. And what else do we have? Oh, we have the accidental major leak, which I think I spelled major wrong. I think I spelled it Marjor. Marjor leak. It's not only a leak. Like, this is worse than a leak. The models for the new Crisis Protocol models were accidentally sold. They weren't just leaked. They were sold. And they are on the market. You can buy them on eBay. Probably. But I like your ridiculous string of accidentals. Way more. Well, listen, I'm sure that distributor... Look, the holiday season is coming up. I don't know, have you ever been to the Merchandise Mart in downtown Chicago? Okay, you ever been there in, like, June when all the Christmas stuff is up? Okay, so if you go there in June, it's like all Christmas there because they're putting up all the displays that all of the stores are going to wind up buying for Christmas, right? So it would not surprise me if things are already going into stock and getting to distributors for sale, between now and January. But somebody definitely had a major oopsie. If only that would happen with GW. That would be great. That would make me so much happier. Apparently only half of us hobby anymore. I am continuing to work on my Tizank. Ooh, I wish. We got to get you set up with... I think that Josh should send you his second camera because he's not going to use it. And we should have you as the second table to look at because clearly Josh ain't going to be hosting. So Josh, go ahead and pack up that second camera I lent you and ship it on over to the other hobbyer. You have two webcams, correct? And one of them came from me. Correct? Yes, correct. Well, if you're not going to hobby and record it, yeah, that would be awesome. Actually, that would be hilarious. If you just go to Twitch and it's a feed of him, his face in the corner, and then just a wide screen of him, the keyboard, and him talking about what he's playing, but you don't see it. Oh no!
What did you do?
Yeah.
What did he do?
How about now?
All right, well, Shivan will tell us in a minute when it catches up. So we were talking just about fingers. Oh yes, recording your fingers. I think it's a bad idea. You should send it to me, and everyone else can see my fingers as they actually do miniature related hobby stuff.
Okay, so I would like a pass, because you know that I like to hobby and I like to hobby with you guys. So
I'm just saying that you've gone to the dark side.
no, Aaron, I haven't. I've gone to the I don't feel good side, and I'm not sitting in my 100-degree garage for 3 hours.
Listen, that sounds reasonable.
Okay, good.
When you say it like that.
But now that that's taken care of, I want to know why you think that I'm gonna be all butthurt about the new rules with the.
You want to get straight into it.
Stuff.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely, because I think it's the dopest thing they've ever done. I think it's great.
Okay,
I think it's fantastic.
We'll get into that in a second. I just want to give quickly just a rundown of what we're doing. So I'm building the tank. You're building what?
Guardian drones from the Blackstone Fortress.
Guardian drones. Josh is playing Diablo 2 ripoff. China cast Diablo 2.
Ooh.
You're so wrong. It's
brutal.
hilarious to me that you guys are missing out on the coolest game.
And Sean is playing Eve.
I am sneaking around in a
We can
legion.
We can also talk about the fact that we got a new Magic set coming out too.
Is there another new Magic set coming out?
Didn't one come out 6 weeks ago?
Double Masters came out.
Oh, right.
Double Masters.
But
That
this
sounds
is
one better
Zendikar
than
Rising.
Oh, right. So Masters was just a pretend set. This is a new standard edition set.
Yes. No, Double Masters is like, here, we'll make EDH stuff cheaper for you.
Like ChinaCast.
Yeah.
6263. So, okay. So GW has released a new rule, and it is called core, and it is an attribute that goes into a keyword, and it functions like infantry or whatnot, but essentially they are stating that specific units are core units, and why should you care? You know what I mean? It's like, why do you care? You care because pretty much all of the area effect special abilities will now only affect core units. And GW is going to decide what a core unit and what isn't a core unit. So it's not just that everything that is infantry is automatically a core and everything that is an HQ is automatically a core. No. It could be a heavy equipment is core, it could be an elite, it could be a fast attack, it could be anything from the game that's a core, but pretty much what's going to happen is that your area effects of, -1 to hit or reroll ones, all of those things that you use to pump out your army are only going to affect the core units, and the core units are not going to be things like your repulsors.
Yeah, so I'm thinking demon princes are no longer gonna go sit in the backfield around a whole bunch of like vehicles for the rerolls to ones.
I mean that is, I might as well bring it up. I think that's literally their example.
Oh, is it really?
That is literally their example as a chapter master babysitting a bunch of repulsors.
Yeah. It's literally here's the picture. I'm gonna fade it over. Aura abilities. Moving forward, many of the most powerful aura abilities will only affect core units from a character's sub-faction. And see, that's the part that I think might not. I'm not saying that you don't like the rule. I'm just saying that it might negatively affect the way that you've been building lists. That's all.
Moi?
Yeah, this represents a more realistic form of in-suit combat where characters acting like they're supposed to be from the narrative perspective. After all, Space Marine Captain should be issuing orders and inspiring units of his battle brothers on the front line, not babysitting as squadrons of repulsor executioners at the back of the battlefield.
So much more realistic for the commanders to be at the front lines. Come on.
Yeah, you don't understand.
Yeah, it's not like they have headsets that they can talk to each other long ranges.
No,
The
that would be
realism I just can't get over with. I can't get over it.
that would be a Vox. That'd be an extra 2 points.
All right, so
right,
check it
for a
out. So
Vox?
check it out. I love it. I think it's great. I think that it's entirely possible to work within, and that it will be utterly fantastic. I have no concerns whatsoever, other than people's meta lists are gonna get crunked in the balls, which I'm super excited about.
In the balls.
I don't have a single list that I think that this ruling adversely affects, let alone cripples.
Okay, well that's awesome.
So
You
because it's
actually
not.
don't right now. Not until the codex comes out.
Well, no, we obviously don't know exactly what everything's going to look like, but none of the stuff that I play requires all these things to be.
Well, I don't know. You said that you were
so on
making
and so forth.
you made like the Dark Angels Dreadnought list, and
Oh, it's fantastic, yeah, but
and
it's already what it is, and it doesn't care about any kind of auras because Dark Angels Dreadnoughts don't get auras.
well, I didn't know if you had, but you
Now,
say Dark
there's-
Angel Dreadnoughts don't get auras, but I'm pretty sure there's like a Chaplain Dark Angel
There
Dreadnought.
is. That doesn't do anything for your Dreadnoughts.
Okay.
But it's all good. It's all good. The whole point is that, you know, I have a lieutenant in that list, and his job is to hang out with a squad of Devastators, right? So he's doing exactly what his battlefield role is supposed to be doing.
Assuming that Devastators get core.
Yeah, and if they don't, you know what? That lieutenant might still be there anyway. So there might have to be like one model switched. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, the other thing is like it says that they don't affect themselves, right? So like,
yeah,
which means that like getting Bobby with, you know, a 2-up, 2-up, 3-up rerollable BS-a-thon
unless he's rolling with a contingent of 20 tactical Marines, which is my list. So
right, but he's not going to be affected by the auras.
who cares? His stats are godlike anyway. He
Well-
doesn't need anything.
Okay, I apologize for insinuating that you were going to get crunked.
I am-
that you would be upset about it.
I'm
I'm
glad
glad
you
that
see the error of your ways.
I'm glad that you are not upset about it, and I agree with you 100%. But
I'm
think
so
that
excited for it.
But I think that it is a huge, mega change.
It is, and
It
it is
is.
gonna mess with a ton of the competitive players' lists because they are built around how do I stack as many of these things together as possible. You know, how do I get as much bonus slapped onto my death squad as I possibly can, so that, you know, you either can't kill it or it can just auto delete whatever it wants whenever it wants to.
You know what's funny is I agree with you guys, but I mean the only thing that's going to change in the tournament players list is they're going to be different. They're still going to find the most broken thing.
Oh,
You know,
oh,
I'm so tired of that argument. I really am. I'm so
What do you-
I'm
it's
so
humans.
tired of it. Yes, we all understand people are going to try to break the list, and someone's going to break it in a better way. But you know what? We can also make rules better that make it harder to do and make the impact of that much less significant. And that is what this is doing. And the closer we can get to players winning because of their skill at playing and not at their skill of number crunching and breaking, then the better off we are. And this is a huge step towards that.
I don't think anyone's
huge.
arguing that.
Well, you kind of are.
No.
You're saying people will
I
still
say
break
I
it.
said it was a good idea, but people will break it.
Oh, thought you
I
meant
agree with
people,
you.
I thought you meant people will break it, so why bother doing it?
No.
Okay. I'm really jumpy tonight.
You're very
You're
jumpy.
very
especially
aggro.
telling people to eat fecal matter.
Well, that was different.
That did happen.
Remember that I told you to eat fecal matter right back? It was hilarious.
It was
You had to
hilarious.
be there.
You know what is also big there is the character giving the buffs. They themselves might not be a core unit or whatever. They're not
Right.
giving themselves the buffs anymore either.
Right, so that's what I was saying.
Which is
So,
kind of
so,
weird too.
so Bobby is not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but I like that aspect as well because you're not, you know, as they said in
Oh my
The,
gosh. How many times am I gonna rip this thing off? Okay.
Are you reloading? Am I out of ammo? What's up?
Go
Oh my
ahead.
god, I'm out of ammo, guys.
Uh-oh. So
Ah.
I just feel that if you're inspiring a bunch of troops to get rerolls on ones, I think you would be inspiring them by showing them you too can reroll on ones.
That you are a baller.
Yeah, so I can feel that, either way, but at the same time it's like, whatevs. I can deal with it.
Yeah. Hey Aaron, switch back your camera. People can see what you're doing.
Right now, what I'm doing is floundering, so I don't know if
That's gonna help at all. You're just being aggro and very forgetful tonight.
I don't understand what I did wrong. I
You
think
drink.
I don't drink. I know. Okay, I figured out what I did wrong. I did the right side first and not the left side. So what I really need to be doing is 60-61, and everything will be fine.
That's all you gotta
60-61.
do.
Got it figured out now.
You just
Good.
got a 60-61 it.
I just got a 60-61 it, and everything will be great. So I mean, I think it's really big deal. I think a lot of it is going to depend on what GW considers core, right? Like that. And the other annoying thing about that is it makes me extremely worried for power creep, right? Which means that as new units come out, and those units are not infantry and a Devastator squad and something that you would innately assume is core, then there's going to be like Ultramarine Captain Fart Pants, and by the way, he's core, and you're going to be like, oh, well, now I have to buy Fart Pants.
No, what you're going to see is the separate Marine chapters are going to have different core units.
Right. Or
So
don't
you'll-
forget the pregame stratagems that you can just make a unit core.
Oh, that's possible.
Did
Oh,
it,
that'll
did it
definitely
say
happen.
that?
No, but come on.
That's
They're
actually- that's a
pushing
really
people
good-
to.
That's a really
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
there's-
okay. So that's
there's
how
all
you.
sorts of
So you think that's how they're gonna make different armies have different flavors? So like Ultramarines, their core will be, I don't know, repulsor tanks, and Dark Angels are gonna be Terminators, and White Scars are gonna be bikes.
Yeah. And then White Scars and maybe whoever else can make Centurions core by paying an extra CP.
Perfection.
Or depending on whatever chapter you take, you can, yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be another way for you to use CPs and stop some of the brokenness. If they
Which you're advocating for. It's very shocking to me.
why?
Because
As
you,
long as they don't
because
have the rule
all
of
because
three,
all,
I'm all right.
because they still have the rule of three.
No.
All you play is broken. So that's why it's confusing to me.
What are you? I don't play anything broken. I'm completely fair and responsible with my gameplay.
Uh huh.
Wait, but someone said something. So there is no more rule of three.
Yeah, I don't know what Josh is smoking there. There is rule of three.
Okay,
Is
that's
there a rule of
Infantry, not. If it's infantry, right, you can have as many as you want, but
three?
now you mean troops or you mean infantry?
troops. Yeah, troops. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely still rule of three.
Really? I must not
Right?
have seen it in the rules.
Right? I'm not
Right.
crazy about that. Am I crazy?
I think
Am I
either
crazy?
all three of us are crazy or Josh is crazy, so I think we should just say Josh is crazy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think it's an amazing change. I think the only thing that I don't like about the change is it's more freaking fracking bookkeeping.
Freaking fracking.
And there's probably easier ways to accomplish that without making more bookkeeping. But and I also don't know why they would hold off on that until after the release. Like, I feel like that should have been talked about, like, during all of the stuff over the summer.
No,
right?
they got to keep trickling it out, just like they did all
Right.
summer, right? They just kept spoon feeding every day, some little.
But that's
nugget.
huge. But that's huge. But don't we have the rule books? I'm confused. I have a ninth edition rule book, right?
Oh yeah, I think I have one of those too.
Right. And there's no mention of core units in it.
Yeah, it's
Huh.
going to be codex only.
Right. So that is weird.
Don't worry, it'll be in the 9th Ed Codex 2 Electric Boogaloo that's going to drop in February.
At the same time as 2077.
If it gets delayed, it's now your fault. You and Josh.
How is it our fault if 2077 gets delayed?
Because you're the ones that keep saying that it's still going to be delayed.
We're just like the people who say that, you know, the end of the world is coming, and then when it comes, you're like, it's your fault because you said it.
What did I say was going to
Yeah.
be delayed?
The game
Cyberpunk
27.
2077.
Oh, yeah, it's totally delayed.
Suck. Y'all suck.
Yeah, they do.
I mean,
yeah, they do.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is. I'm just gonna fade it back really quick. It's interesting. It's interesting. There's definite. I think really what it's gonna do is it's gonna reduce the big brain. You know what I mean? It's like not gonna take as big a brain to figure out what things stack well together. However,
I think it is. I think it is going to take more of a bigger brain because you're going to have certain buffs that are only going to be going off on your core units. You're going to have other buffs that are going to be influencing everything. You got to stay within the range for this guy and over here and over there. I think it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be more bookkeeping. And it's going to drive people to find, okay, I still need that buff. What is the next best optimal solution to get there?
see, because I was thinking about it like, oh, you don't have to bother looking at as many things because less things give you the thing that you need. You know what I mean? I guess not. I think the problem that's going to happen and what might backfire is that you can already pay CP to take whatever you want and mix and match and do whatever you want, and that you're just going to be able to do that anyways. That's probably how it's going to backfire.
They could be like, you can take anything you want, but this rule is going to make it so you still can't take anything you want.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I think we've talked about that plenty.
Let's move on.
I would like to move on. I didn't get to see this, but you guys were talking about it. The Sisters VR. I'm really excited to hear about it.
Okay, Battle Sisters VR. I'm just gonna play the trailer.
All right.
I don't know if there's gonna be sound. It's only
Soon everyone's only going to be able to hear Battle Sisters.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, you're not watching the live stream.
I know I'm joking.
All right, so that is Battle Sister VR, which is only being released on the Oculus Quest, and there is a Oculus Quest 2 coming out. If you weren't able to hear the sound, or if you want to watch a trailer, you can go to Warhammer Community and check it out. But here's a few things right off the bat that I'm gonna say. My hopes for this game after watching the trailer, which was my first one, went from like really excited to this game is going to be garbage.
You think so?
Yes. I play a lot of VR. And there is a major problem in VR, particularly with first-person shooters, and that is how do you dynamically move around like you would in Skyrim or Fallout or any other first-person shooter, while A, not causing the person to fall down stairs, maintaining some sort of boundary box, and create these shooting elements. And what I saw in that trailer was that every single shooting scene, the shooter was stationary. And then there were some cut-in transition scenes where it looked like you were climbing somewhere, but I bet that they are two completely distinct parts of the game. There are parts of the game where you move from area to area, and then you are essentially probably a gun turret that is shooting
Like
things as they come
Time
at you.
Crisis.
Ooh, Time Crisis is garbage.
Probably like
Throwback.
Time Crisis. Yes. Or the other, like, there are VR games. The other annoying movement thing that they do is, you know, when you get a grenade arc in a game and it gives you like that cool arc where you see where the grenade is going to go?
Yep.
So they have movement arcs that look like a grenade arc. And so you hold your controller, and there's a famous shooting zombie game. It's like the #1 shooting VR zombie game. And you hold the thing and it gives you this arc, and then where the little dot goes, you teleport over there, and then you can start shooting again. I played Skyrim VR.
Oh, really? How
It
was
wa-
that?
It was a colossal nightmare.
How did they do it?
They did it so that on your controller
Mm-hmm.
you would still be sitting, right? You're still sitting.
Okay.
And on your controller, you could move around just like Skyrim, and you could look around at the same time. The problem was that in order to do that, there were 3 different ways that they did it. One was if you had full 360-degree view, then your frame rate was like 5 frames a second. So it'd be like click over, click, you know what I mean? It was like looking stutter.
Yeah.
It was just way too slow. Then the way that you could correct that is you could give yourself tunnel vision, so that essentially all you could see was a 4x3 area in front of you, and you could pivot up and down and look all around, and that improved the frame rate, but still made it extremely difficult to play. So I highly doubt, and I could be wrong, but I highly doubt that Battle Sisters VR is going to be the game that cracks the code of a standing, fully immersive first-person shooter that allows you to bob and weave and move forward and back while also standing and ducking and moving around.
Right. Well, if the Half-Life VR didn't do it, I don't think any sort of 40K game would ever do it.
Yeah. I'm actually most disappointed in the graphics for the game. And I know VR typically doesn't have very good graphics, but the part that makes me laugh is the one with the flamer. And it's like,
Yeah.
look at these awesome weapons. And I was like, it looks like you just got like a Bic on high.
I mean, it does. I do want to flame things with my flamer.
And I want to take a power sword and shove it through someone's chest.
So the other bothersome thing is I'm really like, I have a PlayStation, and there's a lot more than just Oculus, and I understand how video game companies work, and I understand, you know, like exclusives and people trying to corner the market and whatnot, but it just seems like a real drag to me, the number of games that are, particularly for VR, that are exclusive. And
To the platform?
To the platform, and I think it's actually overall hurting the VR platforms. Because the best VR that you can get is not Oculus Quest. And Oculus Quest isn't cheap. It starts at $299. Its
Right.
$299 version is 64 gigs, and then the next up isn't 120, it's 256.
Yeah.
So like that ain't enough gigs. It's just, I don't think it's good for the industry to have so many exclusives. Like, I did not get to do the Slow Mo Guys VR. I did not get to do the Half-Life VR. I did not get to do all of these things, and I would be buying all of them because I really like VR and I play it all the time. But apparently, because I have a PlayStation, you know, I'm limited to just that marketplace. And I think that that's a real bummer.
That is, but I mean, it's like how consoles always go. I mean, not necessarily always. There's plenty of games that are cross-platform, but there's always platform exclusives for everything. Right?
Sure. It feels worse, though, for VR.
What do you guys think about? We were going to talk about the PlayStation 5. This might be a good segue. the fact that what's the point of these consoles at some point?
It's for people that don't have, well, not necessarily don't have the money for a computer, but it's a lot to get a computer set up in a living room to do a cooperative sit down casual, just like hang out, chill, and play, right? It's definitely, I think, going to be more to those people that just want to like pull something out of the box, plug it into their TV, and start playing a game, and not put a lot of thought into it, and just do it as just a casual, fun experience, rather than having to have a gaming rig in a separate room that, you know, a lot of people don't have the space for, like an office where they also have a computer set up and they're you know, having a table and desk and gaming chair and all that.
I mean, I know that there are some technical studies that are done that certain games that are made for platforms can actually have better graphics than computers, even high-end computers, unless you buy an uber supercomputer optimized for video games, where you're talking about in the thousands of dollars. That for the equivalent priced computer, consoles can do better because they're designed to do it. There's that aspect of it. But I think your question actually gets expanded even more, because I know I've talked to a bunch of people who have consoles other than myself, and a lot of them have consoles because things like Netflix, right? Like, it's not just their console. Gosh darn it, I knocked another one of these things off. It also is their Hulu player and their Netflix player, and there's other things. But it's starting to be like everything is everything now.
Yeah, you can do all that stuff through a TV, you can do it through a computer, you can do it through the console, you know, it's just, you know, what do you have? What's the easiest thing?
I'm really, you know, I mean, clearly it's not a dying market. I think
well,
I don't.
It's to me because like the cost is getting pretty prohibitive.
Well, it's not only that. It's not only is the cost is getting pretty prohibitive, but my old answer would be, well, a computer is a one-person thing, and a console is a multi-person thing, and for any family, you know, that has multiple people that want to play with each other at the same time on a game like, you know, Fallout or Star Wars or any of these multiplayer games, like, you can just sit down and, you know, turn on 3 controllers and 3 people can play. So if you have 3 kids, for example, who are all of similar age, you're not going to necessarily sit them down in 3 different rooms on 3 different computers. You're just going to sit them down at one console. I know Adam and I play games on the console a lot more. And that is significantly less money than when we play Minecraft together and he's on my laptop and I'm on my desktop. Right? So I think there is that family aspect of it. But here's the problem with making that argument. One of our favorite games to play is Star Wars Battlefront 2. He's only allowed to play as the original clone troopers fighting the robots, so that he's not killing people. So he's allowed to fight robots.
Okay. We
can only play in co-op mode and 4-player mode, because even though I bought the game and I have a paid PlayStation account, and I have a paid EA account, in order to access a second player in the 32 by 32 action, 32 people versus 32 people, every player has to have their own PlayStation account. So
cool.
That undermines my argument of like, hey, Mortal Kombat is more fun when you sit down and just 2 people click on the controller and they fight each other and you're in the same room, right? Like, that's a pretty cool thing to do. But now that games are trying to squeeze every single dollar out of every single account, it makes it less. It makes it less.
Oh man, yeah. So I think it's going to be coming to more of just kind of like, we'll probably get to more of like the Windows versus Apple debates of just kind of like what's the right fit for you, what's your kind of preference. like Aaron
Yeah.
says, like how you play or who you play with. But I think it's interesting to the point that like you can get a PlayStation now. There's the new one that's coming out, and there's also a cheaper that's digital only, so no, you can't put in any discs. And so that basically just becomes just a little box that you download games to. And like you said, like you can stream Netflix, you can, do your Hulu stuff, whatever else. But it's just purely you're buying a box that is just digital. Like you're not buying a game in a case anymore.
So
You're
first,
not going to the store at all.
So first of all, like, I know a lot of people still go to the store. I know a lot of people still buy boxed games. And so that's why they're even offering it with a CD. That it's still a really big marketplace, particularly because games are expensive, and people still trade in games. And I will say, like, the return policy, which we were talking about before the show a little bit, the return policy, I don't know if unless I absolutely know that I'm going to play the game, I don't think I'm going to ever buy digital games anymore on the PlayStation Network. Because I've been burned too many times by real bad games, or games that marketed themselves as one thing and then turned out to be something else, even though they were major market games. That, oh man, I just smeared glue all over the front of this. That is a huge bummer.
You are not doing hot tonight.
That was a huge bummer. I need my
And they don't allow you to return the game.
And they don't allow you to return the game. So I'll just tell the story really quick. This is the PlayStation, by the way. I'm showing it. I think it looks ugly. If you don't, you're wrong. It's $500 with the CD. It's $400 without the CD. Controller looks really cool, actually. So, by the way, if for those of you who are watching, if you don't have Uncure, you should have Uncure.
What's Uncure?
Uncure removes super glue. It's just a really thin paste, or a really thin liquid. It's not a paste, and you just gently wipe it over super glue, and it strips it right off really quickly, and it's safe on your plastic. So if you do something like I just did and accidentally smear super glue all over a flat panel that needs to get airbrushed, if you get to it right away, even if you don't, but if you get to it right away, it just comes right off.
Wow.
No biggie.
Why have I never gotten this?
It's literally every place that sells these things with your local brand, there is an Uncure.
Yeah, your Bob's Industry or whatever.
Yeah,
Yep.
there is an Uncure, and you should definitely get it.
I'm
I've
gonna
also-
have to do that.
Yeah,
'Cause
I've
I
also
do a
never made
lot of-
huge gloopy glue messes though.
Oh,
Yeah,
shut up.
I do a lot of refurbishing though, so having something that will break that glue up most of the time, whatever solvent you're dissolving the paint with, does a pretty good job of weakening the adhesive.
Yep.
Assuming they didn't use GW plastic glue.
Well, yeah, plastic glue. It's just welds.
You're welding
Yeah.
at that.
So
I'm aware of it.
I'm a big Final Fantasy VII fan. Big Final Fantasy VII fan. And I pre-ordered the deluxe edition of Final Fantasy VII Remastered. And Squaresoft or Ubisoft or whoever the heck makes that game stated that the Final Fantasy so let me back up. I'm sorry. I got really excited for Final Fantasy 15 because it was touted as Final Fantasy 7. They're like, if you guys like Final Fantasy 7, you're going to like Final Fantasy 15. We're doing a similar aesthetic. We're doing all these things. It's going to be similar. So I bought Final Fantasy 15. Huge mistake. Final Fantasy is no longer a scrolling RPG where in combat you get text windows. It's now God of War or Devil May Cry. And you jump around and swing around and you fight. Which is fine if you like those type of games. I don't. You know what I mean? I wasn't just in love with the Final Fantasy stories and characters. I was also in love with the Final Fantasy play mechanism. Which I guess makes me an old grognard. But
An old fart.
whatever.
Old fart.
Whatever.
No shirt pun intended.
Yeah. So, they stated Final Fantasy VII Remastered will have the graphics of Final Fantasy 15 and will contain the original type of gameplay as Final Fantasy VII. We're bringing it back for all of you people who missed it. I was like, awesome, sounds great, it's perfect. I'm going to get the sweet new graphics of Final Fantasy 15, which is gorgeous, and I'm going to get the gameplay of Final Fantasy 7, which is exactly what I wanted.
Did you pre-order it?
I pre-ordered it for like $89, special edition. All about it. All about it.
Bucks.
All about it.
Special.
Then, at the time, there were no playthroughs, there were no reviews, the game had not been released. Now, granted, before the game was actually released, they did allow people to play it, you know what I mean, and there were reviews. But honestly, A, I wasn't paying too much attention to that, and B, when there's things that I'm really excited about, I don't always want to watch the previews and the playviews.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily want to hear a review, I just kind of want to jump into it and see how it goes. So I jump into it, and I pick, in the very first screen, Final Fantasy 7 Old School, Final Fantasy 15 New School, how do you want to play? I'm like, Old School, thank you very much. Opening graphic, amazing, gorgeous. Get off, amazing, gorgeous. Get into the first combat. What pops up? A little combat box. Excellent. First combat down, looking great. Get into the second combat box. Uh-oh. What's happening? I'm fighting like it's Devil May Cry, except I'm not pushing the buttons.
Why don't you explain real quick what Devil May Cry style play is like for
Devil May Cry style play is like God of War or Assassin's Creed. It is a fast-paced button combination tactical fighting game where you hit different buttons to punch, kick, jump, and you move around in different combinations, and then as you get more powerful, you get more complicated abilities that require longer strings of button combinations to remember.
Real fast, I would call it a third-person, target-centered gameplay.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything you're doing is based off of the target that you're trying to kill, and then as Aaron said, you've got various combinations like Tekken to do all your different thingamajiggies and jumping and
third person bounce and pounce is Warbucks.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Third person bounce and pounce. So their Final Fantasy 7 was, we will let you go into automatic mode, where it will do the automatic bounce and pounce, and then every now and again it'll pop up a thing that lets you decide whether you want to cast fire or ice spell. And then every time you put it into automatic mode, it gives you a warning that says, going into automatic mode may cause you to lose the fight because it's not going to make the best decisions.
Nice.
And I'm just like, so this doesn't contain Final Fantasy RPG style fight at all. In any way. And so I turned it off. I played it for an hour. I turned it off. I went to return it. What do I find out? The return policy is, for all PlayStation games, if you pre-order them, if you play them, meaning if you download it and click play, you may never ever return it ever. It is yours now and forever. Now, if I would have bought that as a CD from Target, then in the before times, I would have just gone to Target and returned it, because it would have been within my return policy and been like, this game was trash, here you go. Which is like how games in the past have gone down, right? Like, people pre-ordered millions of copies of games, the games turned out to be garbage, and then people returned them and they went down the drain.
Yep.
Apparently you can't do that anymore. So it worries me to have to spend $100 less on a console and then spend $100 for a game and then not be able to return it when it turns out to be trash.
That is a very fair point. So take that into consideration if you think you'll be saving monies getting the online only version of any of these new consoles. Yeah, war budgets, yeah, but when you have to go to Target, which is not optimal either.
Right. The before, I called it the before times.
Amazon also has a decent return policy. I don't know what it is on the games because I've never had to do it though.
I think that there should be I actually think there should be a lawsuit about this personally. Like I think that you should have the right to return whether you buy something digitally or physically. And I wonder if there's ever going to be a major lawsuit over this, because I could see this happening with a company that spent $100 million on software, you know, and then wasn't able to return it because they're like, you downloaded it instead of buying it on CDs. There might be a lawsuit if it happened that way.
Yeah, I just don't really understand the difference. It seems like it's almost easier to return digitally, but that's why they do it, is because people can just download it, see the game is crap, and just refund it real
Yeah.
quick. And
Yeah.
also because a lot of the games that you're downloading digitally are made by smaller studios, which might not have the actual resources. So a game that looks cool and isn't, and you want a refund on, they don't want that to become a habit.
I mean, listen, I don't have problems with putting restrictions on it. You know what I mean? Of being like, if you play for 30 minutes, like you should be able to know within 30 minutes whether you think the game is crap or not.
Yeah.
But just
And a
to
lot of
not,
companies do that.
not just be able to not do it at all. I don't know.
What do you guys think of GW doing returns like that? They nerf something.
Well, that's what we were joking about, right?
Return all my Forge World,
I was
please.
gonna return my Forge World Last Class. I don't. Was that on camera that we had that conversation?
I don't think so.
No,
Oh,
I
I'm so sad about the Last Plas, man. So sad.
So yeah, Josh and I decided that I am going to repackage my fully painted and assembled Lazplas, since they are no longer in the codex, and return them to Forge World and ask for a refund.
just be like,
Yeah.
I want something that actually exists in the game.
Right?
It's
Yeah,
not
if
too
you're
much
gonna
to
split
ask.
it, you get to refund it. All right, you made it obsolete.
Yeah, you made it obsolete. You can have it back.
Yeah.
Where did my razor blade go? And that's never a fun question to ask.
Just stand up and dance around a little bit.
I got it.
Rub your
Hope-
hands all
hope
over your
for the
table.
best.
blindly.
I'm actually using a tool that like I vowed to never use again, and I don't even understand how it's in my house. And that is a solid cylinder razor blade. Am I still on the stupid PlayStation thing?
Yeah, you
Oh
are.
god.
It's a solid. So here's a hot tip: solid cylinder razor blade handles. Throw them all away. Chuck them. There are cheap razor blade handles that have little hexagons right here, right where you tighten it down, so that when you put it down, it does not roll.
I like the danger.
Yeah. I like to play that game as I see it rolling off the table. Of like, am I going to put my hand directly underneath it to catch it?
It's not my hand that I worry about; it's my thigh.
I want some risk.
You want risk, okay? Well, everybody, change of plans. Send your solid cylindrical handles to Josh. With
He
your
likes a little risk.
with your rustiest blade attached.
Only the finest. Rusty
All right.
blade.
I think that'll turn out well.
Okay, so the other cool thing that we have to talk about is this awesome picture that Aaron, I think you got from Reddit.
The one that I posted in Facebook?
Yes,
In
of
chat?
the Space Marines
Yeah.
smashing up some stormtroopers.
Yeah, I saw that tonight. I couldn't help it. Like, it is the perfect mashup of Star Wars and 40K.
There's a whole series of those. Those are with the toys.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really cool. Is it's actually with the toys.
Oh,
It's
really?
not just yeah,
Those
it's
are
not just
toys.
little, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of them. They're pretty cool. I
Yeah,
watched,
I like the smoke effects back there. and-
yeah. Seen some people do stuff with like firecrackers and stuff like that, so it looks like the stormtroopers like breaching through the walls in A New Hope and stuff like that. So there's a pretty cool
Dude,
photography.
toy photography is a
Toys
big
now.
deal right now.
Yeah.
It's a big I don't know what the right word for it is. Almost like sub hobby, I guess, is what you would call it.
Kind of like how bobbleheads were a couple years ago.
But I mean,
Like
it's
every
like,
hobby had a bobblehead, and now you got action figures, right?
well, no, that's not
Like
what
just
I mean.
taking the pictures is what.
I mean like setting up pictures and people getting really into building their own terrain and scenery to take pictures, and getting into lighting, and there's all these like startup lighting companies with these teeny tiny little lighting kits, and special cameras and lenses for taking photos exactly like this, and it covers. Oh no. And it
Man, what are you doing over there?
I don't know. It's not going well. It's really not going well tonight. And it covers like everything from like Star Wars to Raggedy Ann. You know, like it's pretty cool.
All sorts of diorama.
Combination of diorama, toys, and photography.
Yeah, War Budgies. I like how the guy in the forefront is just throwing his hands up, like running away screaming, as you put it, noping out to Hell Nosville.
See, I don't know if there is a picture like this, but I want to see lightsaber, power sword touching each other, and then I want to see the arguments unfold.
I'm sure that's out there. One last thing I do like about this picture is in the background, the Space Marine is ducking under the door to come through, which is a nod to the scene of troopers coming through, because the one totally hit his head on the ceiling and they had to duck under.
Yep, in the Death Star. That's when
not on the Death Star. No, it was when they were boarding the ship that Leia was on.
Oh, then there's two. There's two. Because in
one of the Death Star.
There's one the famous one that I know about is the one in the Death Star in the room where C-3PO and R2-D2 is hiding. That's the one where the dude clonks himself and almost falls over unconscious.
Oh, you're totally like, this is one of the first shots of Star Wars. It's totally a classic goof.
Apparently, a lot of people in Stormtrooper costumes bump their head.
It is kind of a dorky looking helmet that they're wearing.
Oh my god, I am really screwing this up, guys. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's stuck to me.
Oh,
it's stuck to me.
Douse yourself in your
sticker. And then I dropped it and it collapsed. Oh, now I took it apart. Okay, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Do we just end it here?
What is happening? I've lost my ability to assemble simple parts.
Wow.
You lost the ability.
Oh, wow.
The worst part is you still have it on the picture, so people could.
God. Thank
complete goofs.
God, it was still on that picture.
I think it's unfortunate.
Goodness. Well, I have to glue another one together, so let's see if I screw this one up.
Who's got the soundboard with Yakety Sax queued up right now?
This is why I don't like hobbying alone. I wish somebody else had a camera every now and again. Okay.
Nope, we like.
Here we go. I'm not going to touch the glue. Again. Here we go. Yes.
Let's root him on.
Yes.
Come on, Aaron. Come on,
yes!
little Aaron.
Do it!
Yes! Now I get some kicker. We'll kick the bad one first. We'll kick the good one. See, I don't know what anyone's talking about. I know what I'm doing. Shut up, everyone.
Okay.
There's no problems. When the camera's on, there's no problems. Oh, man.
Shivan, I feel like I should one of these times, just for you, go and watch Undertaker throw Mankind off the Hell in a Cell onto the Spanish announcer's table back in 1998.
Oh, you got to read it. Thank God. You're cursed now. You know that, right?
Am I?
Yes.
I've read it before.
I know, but he's a witch.
Oh.
And you're now cursed, and you can only eat white food on Tuesdays now.
So like mayonnaise?
Yep, that's white.
And eggs?
Eggs, sure, the egg, but not the yolk. Can't have the yolk.
Raw sugar.
What if you eat it without seeing the yolk?
I don't know, Shivan. Are you allowed to eat white? Like, are things allowed to have color on the inside? I need to know.
This is the strangest thing I've ever heard.
I need to know.
Are Cadbury eggs okay?
Please. Yes, are white chocolate Cadbury eggs filled with Nutella acceptable on Tuesdays when you're only eating white food? This is important information.
So one thing that we kind of skipped in all this, we did talk a little bit about the sisters, just going back real quick, because I kind of want to nerd out a little bit for a moment on this Oculus, though. And because we didn't compare it to the PlayStation, because an Oculus is an all-in-one system that you can use. You don't
Yes.
have to connect it to a computer. The new Oculus is they have a VR headset out they've had out for a while called the Oculus Quest. Oculus, they did the Rift back in the day. Facebook bought them. Then they put out the Quest. It's its own self-contained system. Not overly pricey, but I mean, it's still like $500-600. But for VR setups go, it's not terrible. Especially like, I mean, with the PlayStation, you got to buy the PlayStation, and then how much is the VR on top of the PlayStation?
150, right, Josh?
No, it's 300.
300.
300. Yeah. So, and then if you look at like the
And-
Steam
and-
consoles,
but-
that's like
and
over $1,000.
It has a cable.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the PlayStation has a cable, so you are tethered to the. I broke a piece off. For Christ's sake. For Christ's sake.
Is the Rift not tethered?
The
It
Rift.
is not tethered.
It is not tethered. Yeah, it is not tethered. It's tetherless. However, like I know
It does-
people that swear by it, that they love the Rift, right? Because they like throw it in their bag, and again in the before times, and they go, you know, like on vacation or wherever, and they have it, and they're playing their Beat Sabers, and they can do VR anywhere, and that's amazing. I think that's great. But
Yeah.
when I talk to the diehard people, so for example, when we were at, what was the convention that we went to in Indiana?
Indie Store.
Indie Storm. When we went to Indie Storm, there was the VR guy there, right?
Yeah.
And he's a hardcore VR guy. And so I was
Right.
talking to him about it because whenever I go from PlayStation to the Steam one, what's the Steam one called? The really nice one.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it off the top
Anyways,
of my head.
the really expensive one. He's like, oh, I was like, I find Beat Saber to be a lot more difficult, and I'm like, I don't understand why. Like, why do I go from Expert Plus down to hard, and I'm missing things? Like, what's up with that? And he's like, oh, he goes, well, the PlayStation it doesn't have enough accuracy to actually know where you are all the time, so it makes assumptions. So you kind of get in a rhythm with those assumptions. And you might actually always be a tenth of a second late in your swing, but the PlayStation isn't accurate enough to know that, so it's like buffering that out, right? It's
Does
giving
that make you sad?
It does a little bit, because I used to have dreams of like somehow getting swept up into an international VR competition and making it to the finals because I can play 4 songs on Expert Plus, but I would never. You know, it would never actually happen because they wouldn't do it on PlayStation. So I assume that the Quest also is put into that category of it doesn't quite have the processing power and it doesn't quite have the room accuracy in order to really bring the VR to this next level high precision. I don't know if the VR actually needs that level of precision, but that is what a VR hardcore person would say. The way that I got into VR is I actually was programming VR in college in 2006. VR was done by something called a Flock of Birds, and a Flock of Birds was an array of essentially radio, little teeny tiny AM radio things that you would hang up above you, and it took at least 12 of them on the ceiling and then a couple of them on the sides, and you didn't have a headset. You had a screen in front of you, and then the screen had 2 projectors behind it, and each projector had a filter on it so that the wavelengths would interact in a specific way. They had polarizing filters, one tilted up and one tilted to the side. You can Google polarizing, and it would cause an overlay that would look 3D. Without needing to wear, then you'd have to wear the polarizing glasses, right? Polarizing glasses. And then you were in a room.
The old 3D TVs that were like that.
Yes, there were. And then you're in a room and you had a handle that had a wire that went to a computer, and you had this flock of birds, right? And it's literally this multi-$1,000 setup. There was one at like the Art Institute of Chicago, like. It was how you did 3D back in the day. So I did a whole bunch of 3D programming on that, and was starting to get into it. So I know how it used to be. So the big companies, the big expensive ones, they still do that, right? What you do is you clearly define your play area, and you put 4 cameras or 4 sensors at each corner, so it literally reads you inside of that play area from all sides.
Yep, that's what the one of the upgrades that you can get for the Steam
Right.
VR setup.
Exactly. So you're saying, well, if it requires it knowing precisely where you are at all times, how is PlayStation and Quest getting around that? So the way the PlayStation gets around it is it's actually only tracking 3 things. It's tracking the lights on your headset and the 2 lights on your handles. And then using a little bit of Bluetooth and 2 cameras in order to give it a little bit of depth perception. And that's how it's tracking you. But it's not super duper accurate. And you know it's not accurate because when you go too far down and one of your handles gets off camera, it immediately pops back up to the center position. Right? Like it doesn't know. I assume that Oculus Quest must be using some sort of Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to reference the relationship between the hands and the head. That's the only way that it can work if it doesn't have wires, right? Like it doesn't have a camera pointing at you. So that accuracy is what the hardcore 3D people say is not worth it. That you need that full room setup, and you need the high processing power, and you need the high graphic resolution on your headset.
Yeah, but that's the hardcore community of anyone. Like, spend the money on the really good stuff, because the less expensive stuff can have its place and be decent, but you want the full experience if you're a hardcore anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the Oculus Quest is probably... I broke another piece. Is probably...
Is anyone keeping count?
I think that's 4. It's these stupid little flaps, okay? These flaps are stupid. I think
sure is the flaps that are stupid.
I think I forgot the price already. $399 for the 256 gig with the battery pack and carrying case for another $129 for a total of 4 + 1 is 5 for $550 plus shipping and tax. God,
You just break something again.
I don't want to talk about it.
Did you find your razor blade?
I literally, the one that I did properly, I just ripped it in 2 pieces.
How much have you actually gotten done tonight?
Let's see. I got
unglued a lot.
I've gotten one side of the repulsor pads done. I've gotten the two rear repulsor pads done. I've gotten all 4 of the engines on. I've gotten 1 engine cover on. I've gotten 2 exhaust vents done. I've actually almost finished both sprues of the main tank. The doors obviously aren't going on until after I do the LEDs, so that I'm not worried about. I literally am done with 2 sprues. The only thing that's left for me to do is the actual turret of the tank, which I thought I would get to, but clearly that's not happening because I can't.
You working on that repulsor?
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, he broke like 3 more things just while you were gone.
No.
Yeah.
Every 3 seconds, you're like, damn it.
Are you doing the executioner or just the regular one?
It's the executioner.
Nice. But it's not going to get the captain rerolls to hit.
I know. That's why maybe I'm like unconsciously, subconsciously sabotaging it because now it's nerfed and garbage.
It's not garbage. What gun did you decide to put on it?
I haven't decided. All still on sprue. I'm definitely gonna magnetize the 2 different guns. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to magnetize.
I'm not gonna magnetize all of the different rockets versus bolt guns, and I'm not gonna magnetize whatever this like flamer is versus a bolt rifle. I don't give a crap about that. I'm just gonna pick. But the 2 big guns, are gonna get magnetized.
I feel ya.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was my long diatribe on VR. I love VR. You should play VR. Beat Saber is, I think, my most favorite game ever made. It's also a great exercise. And if you are thinking about buying VR, whether or not you own a PlayStation or not, my recommendation is to buy the Quest. Because everything I hear is that... I just broke another piece, guys.
No. Oh my god.
Everything I hear is that the Quest is all around great. It has the quality that you would expect. It has really good accuracy. It has portability. It doesn't have cables. It's supposed to be really fun.
I
I
feel
might
like
be
the
putting it in
cables
pre-order.
are not having cables is kind of dangerous.
Why?
Because
Because you don't have that tether and you're just walking around?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what I do, okay? This is how I handle my VR. First of all, there is a group of hackers, I believe at MIT, who decided that they wanted to see what sort of horrible things they could get people to do while they were playing VR. And so they would this was in the laboratory, obviously, but they said, okay, let's assume that a hacker gets into somebody playing VR. So what can we do to them? So for one, VR games have what's called a center anchor point. And like I was saying, most games are played as though you're a stationary turret. And even when you're walking around, that anchor point is kind of set so that if you take a step forward, there's some sort of marker in the world that lets you know that you're off center. So what they would do is they would take control of that center point and then slowly move it while people were playing the games and walk them into walls, right?
Nice.
And then postulate a future murder where somebody falls down the stairs, and then the people come in and they remove the VR equipment and it just looks like they walked down the stairs, right? So yes, that is a real thing. This is what I do. I bought a bathroom rug, and I put the bathroom rug down where I'm playing. That's my center point. So when I step off of the rug, I know that I'm no longer center. Right? Like I literally have a physical feeling change, a textural change, so that I know where the boundary is. Now,
I was just thinking I would tie a rope from my ankle to my coffee table. That would let me know if I've gone too far.
The other thing is having the coffee table, sometimes usually I move the coffee table all the way back to the sofa, and sometimes I don't, because in Beat Saber you don't particularly need to move around as much, but in some other games you do. And I have freaked out when I have not moved the coffee table but taken a step back and just grazed the coffee table. The other dangerous thing is people crossing a lot of times forget that you can't see. So we've had house parties where people were playing Beat Saber and people have gotten smacked in the face, right, when they go to cross between the person playing and the television and forget
That's a little bit of a Darwin Award.
Yeah.
I mean, if you walk right in front of someone flailing their arms about because they're playing Beat Saber, you kind of deserve it.
I don't know if you deserve it. It's just a
Well,
different
maybe not.
it's just a different mentality. It's just a different mentality.
Yeah. I like the idea of not having a cord because I feel like that would just cause it to hang and pull, and just make it less free flowing feeling.
I agree, but I want the highest possible graphic resolution. You know what I mean? And
well, this is 2K per eye, and the pixels are, I think they said, twice as dense. The downside is they went from OLED to LED, but on the new Oculus versus the last one that came out, seems like a pretty solid performance.
Well, let's talk about the fact that VR games pretty much have sucky graphics anyways. So
yeah, their graphics aren't truly great right now. You guys went to my birthday party though, right?
Yeah,
I did.
sure
So-
did. Where Josh's old work was.
Yes.
That was so bizarre.
So Josh, how do you compare the graphics at that Primo setup at my birthday party versus the PSVR?
I felt like it's just the game that depended. Like the one that we played did not have good graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fantasy Archer one.
That one was real bad.
I don't feel like I've noticed any significant difference between the PSVR graphics and those Oculus graphics.
No, I think it's pretty good.
So would you say it does come down more to the game than the hardware right now?
I would say it comes down to the accuracy of the motion tracking.
Okay.
I think is a really big deal, and the game. Definitely.
The game. And for the games, Oculus, another cool thing that they did, beyond just the 40K game there, and they partnered with Ubisoft, getting that Assassin's Creed. And I think Splinter Cell, I didn't know that they were even still making Splinter Cell games.
Dude,
I haven't played Splinter Cell in forever.
They are partnering with they partnered with Adam Savage to do a 3D virtual tour of his workspace, which is like a museum. They've partnered with Slow Mo Guys to do a special. Slow Mo Guys is a YouTube channel that films things in slow mo. I don't know if that wasn't clear.
Wow.
Virtual reality slow mo shots. They partnered with them. I can't watch it even on the PlayStation. They have partnered with major movie houses. There's a whole genre of VR that is just these VR vignettes that are like little short stories told through what the normal medium would be is video, but in this particular case it's like an animated movie plus a certain amount of virtual reality in it, and I can tell you some of them are freaking amazing. Like Alouette. If you haven't played Alouette, you should play Alouette. Kimmy would love Alouette. So I just think they're doing way more than PlayStation is doing, is the bottom line.
Oculus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also PlayStation 5 is what's like games are going to be on. So the people that are making games probably slowed down their PS4 stuff. Like,
Maybe.
why make it for a game that's going to die here? I mean, for a system that's going to be replaced in less than a year,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where's part 153? There it is.
You don't need to know that.
I have one more topic.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
Is it about the Titan that's sitting on this gate that I'm looking at?
No,
No,
you're
it's not.
you're screwed.
No, I'm not. I'm sneaky.
Flight Plan, Mega Air Wog. Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
Do it.
When did Games Workshop come out with a hex-based flying game?
They
It's
showed
been
it off
bringing
at.
out-
Yeah, it's been out forever. They showed it off at last Gen Con last year.
Really?
Yes.
I
The game's been out for like a year now.
had no idea. I had no idea. And
I'm glad we have these shows so that you can be updated, Aaron.
you know, sometimes that's the case. I loved, back in the day, Silent Death. I don't know if anybody played Silent Death. It was a hex-based spaceship game. And you flew around with little spaceships on your hex board, and you blew each other up.
Did you ever
Sounds
play the
great.
original Aeronautica?
Yeah, I played Aeronautica. Aeronautica came out way after Silent Death.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't hex-based either.
No, it wasn't. I played Aeronautica. I didn't like it as much. But I think this is really cool. And I think it's a really cool ship.
This orc bomber thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks very cool. You should totally get one of those and put it together and see how many times you break that tiny little thing. And then you should paint it up.
Shut up. Oh, you all are...
Oh,
Considering that half the people aren't even hobbying, oh my god.
hold on, I gotta show you something.
I put these on backwards.
Are you kidding me?
No.
My sister-in-law
Okay.
and my brother-in-law bought this for Sam.
Can't see anything, Josh.
Can you see this?
No.
It's flickering. Yes, kind of. Yes.
Okay, this Optimus Prime.
Yep.
Okay, there's 102 steps to transform him into a truck.
102 steps.
Yes, the most detailed thing I've ever seen in my life. And my son just turned 4 years old.
I love it.
On my display shelf here until he gets older, because he's
Until he
got some
turns
transformers
21.
that take like 5 steps, and I have to transform them every time. And
So have you taken it out of the box yet to try and transform it?
oh, I did. That's how I found out it's 102 steps, and it's all in Japanese. So there's that bonus.
Well, he can't read anyways, so
No, I can't read it to even learn how to do it,
that sounds very detailed.
dude. It
Does
comes
the
with
sculpt look good?
yeah, it comes with a sword, an axe, and a great sword, and a shield.
2 swords.
And a shield that also can go on his back and is part of the transform to transform him into the truck.
Sounds
It's
like a
the
pretty
most
detailed
detailed
kit.
thing I've ever seen.
The most neato.
It's pretty cool, but it's funny that
Guys, I have to stop working on this. I'm making too many mistakes.
you're just
You're
breaking.
just realizing you're making too
I
many.
know, but I just made like 5 mistakes in a row. I put these panels on backwards, and then I test fitted it, and I ripped the panels off.
Wow.
When you finish this, it's gonna end up like some sort of Eldar flyer. Like it's just like, how did this happen? You broke it so many times, it turned into a whole nother vehicle.
I mean, there's literally parts falling. Like, what have I done? I don't understand how I could be doing so bad.
Well, you can always turn it into expensive terrain.
Listen, it's not that bad yet. It's close, but it's not that bad yet. But I think that I should quit while I'm behind.
Probably a good call. Good call.
At least we learned about Uncure. Today's episode brought to you by Uncure and the like button.
Yeah, maybe you could use your Jankety Tank now in your competition. Jankety Tank. And the terrain competition that you're gonna do next. With the
with Terrainaholic. Yeah, we got the terrain competition coming up. That's exciting.
And this is gonna be
So
foam
what are
based.
the rules?
Sure, I will tell you the rules. How about that?
I like it.
Okay. I brought home from my studio a 2 foot by 4 foot by 1 inch thick piece of styrofoam. So he's limited to that, and I'm limited to that. I brought home my styrofoam cutter, my Proxxon styrofoam cutter, which is essentially a bandsaw for styrofoam. It's just a hot wire. My pre-project is going to be making a special steady stand for it, like a 45-degree anchor that goes into the Proxxon. If you're interested in learning about that, there's a company that manufactures them, but I'm going to make my own. And so the rules are, we get the one piece of 2 foot by 4 foot by 1 inch thick styrofoam. We get as many bits as we want. Okay? So we can use bits. We cannot use sprues, we cannot use models, but we can use bits and bobs. And I have a special sneaky surprise for that. I got some sneaks up in this place. And
Is it a Jankety Tank?
It is not a jankety. It is not a jankety tank. Although this piece that fell off of it, I guess I could use. I should probably put it back though. And then we can use 4 feet by 4 feet of 3 millimeter thick press board or plywood or whatever in order to make the bases. So I can do laser cutting. I have that much material to do laser cutting. Whether and he has that much material to do whatever we have. And then the big rule is that it has to be a 4x6 piece of terrain. So that is between 6 and 12 pieces of terrain, depending on how big they are, out of just this material. Now he's already told me that he's making Necron terrain.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. And I guess I will spoil it just for this audience here because you are all very special to me.
Better watch out. Trainaholic's probably lurking somewhere.
Oh shoot, is he lurking? Trainaholic, if you're lurking, you better post something right now.
Cover your eyes.
Yeah, Trainaholic, if you're listening, you cover your ears right now. All right, that's taken care of. I'm doing crystals. I'm doing crystal terrain, which is a throwback to one of my very first YouTube videos. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm excited. So again, it's essentially a quarter sheet of styrofoam. If you buy styrofoam for wall insulation, it's a quarter sheet, so 2 feet of an 8-foot sheet of styrofoam, and a half sheet of press board, and then bits and bobs. Those are the rules.
And Bob.
And then it's got to be enough terrain to cover a table using the new 9th edition rules. Looking at the pictures, it looks like it's an average of 6 to 12 pieces of terrain that GW is recommending for a table.
You want your tables to be dense.
But I got something non-GW queued up, and that is the CP28
Huh.
Angela and Enchantress accidental release.
What's the name of that person?
Angela? Is that how you say it? Angela? What is
Angela.
it? Angela.
Angeliqua.
I just assume that it's a superhero. It can't be Angela. It's got to be like Angela. Okay. Angela and Enchantress accidental release. We have this lovely letter from Atomic Mass Games. They made a boo-boo.
Yep. And now those boo-boos are selling for. Hey, you should do eBay check real quick. How much are those oops selling for?
I did that. I could only find one left, and it was 70 euros.
Did you go to UK Google?
Did I go to UK Google? I don't know.
I mean, UK eBay, like international eBay.
Didn't even know there was a difference, so I just went to eBay. But I found one, and it was
How much is it selling for?
it was currently at 70 euros.
Nice.
But there's 9 days left on the auction.
Oh my gosh, they're really milking that.
Yeah.
Yep, good to put out an apology letter for your series of accidents.
I don't know that it was a series. It was probably just literally one.
I think he's talking to me. Are you saying
No, I was talking about the accidental release.
Right, the series of accidents, right? Because they accidentally shipped it, and they accidentally put it on a bus, and they accidentally put it on a train, and they accidentally put it on a plane. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's, I think, all the topics that I have for everybody today.
Yeah. Well, there's a new Magic set that's coming out Friday. There's a new season for Path of Exile coming out this Friday. So this is a very good Friday for me.
Any do we know of any GW pre-orders that are going up, or is it still Lumineth Elf season?
I didn't see anything on Warhammer Community about any additional pre-orders.
No pre-orders.
I can check again. Let's go to all news and features.
Yeah.
There's still Sergeant Ripper. That's still out.
Oh, 4 days. Get your pre-orders in. Did anyone pre-order one of the new action figures?
I did not.
12-inch haulers.
There's the Codex Space Marine Weapons and War Gear update, which I guess we could take a look at.
Oh, Shiv, and that Angela is the one from Spawn, like all in the white like costume that fought Spawn. That's crazy.
Yeah. So McFarlane had another famous writer when Spawn first came out. He created it. There was a huge legal battle. The other guy eventually got full custody of the Angela character and then sold it to Marvel, where she's been an Asgardian now with Thor's sister, actually.
Get out, really?
Nope.
Wait
Yeah,
a minute.
it's got a crazy history.
That is.
Wait a minute. Run that one by me again.
Okay. Writer, a famous writer. Somebody Google it real quick. I forget the writer's name, but he's a really famous writer.
Stephen
Was
King.
helping out McFarlane when he first was starting Spawn. First couple episodes created Angela. There was a big battle about who.
Oh,
created
Neil
her.
Gaiman.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman. See.
Holy
I
cow!
told-
Neil Gaiman created Angela and worked with Todd McFarlane.
Yes. Now, what happened was there's a
Oh.
legal battle, and McFarlane lost custody of the character. Basically, Neil Gaiman was found to have created it.
Yeah, because he's a
and-
badass. So.
Oh, and Frank Miller.
And so
No one
what
cares about
happened
Frank.
was that basically he went to go work for Marvel and was like, and then sold it to Marvel. So it's a Marvel character.
Is that
now.
was the Sandman series put out by Marvel?
No, DC.
Okay. So Neil Gaiman, he's just got no alliance.
No, he's
Yeah, he don't give a fuck.
no.
He's awesome.
So anyway, so it's really an interesting character.
And so now she's a Guardian.
Well, she's an Asgardian.
It says Guardians of the Galaxy number 6.
Then she is a Guardians of the Galaxy.
She's not an Asgardian. She's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
She's
No,
actually an
she's her
Asgard.
species is Asgardian,
Okay.
and then it says / angel in Spawn. Place of
Yeah.
origin Asgard.
All I know is she wasn't supposed to be released yet.
This is correct.
So she was not supposed to be released yet, but she was released.
Correct.
And Josh, what's your max bid? $500.
I'm not bidding on it. I have.
That's
I've
why
not
she's
bought-
named Angela.
I can wait.
That's
until
right,
next-
Shivan. Thank you. Thank you, Shivan. Her name isn't Angela. It is Angel. I am correct because she is an angel.
It's
And
definitely Angela.
it's definitely Angela.
I'll let you be wrong.
I mean, have you ever heard her say her name?
No.
Actually, she's in the Spawn comics and the not comics, the cartoons. So yes,
And was her name Angela then?
Angela. Yes, because.
All right, I'm gonna
people
need you to
say
circulate a clip of
Angela.
that.
Yeah, this is fake.
Circulate.
Circulate the clip! I don't even know what that means. I've never heard that before. It's like some sort of fan. A clip fan. Dare I try to
Find
glue...
the-
Hold
find
on.
No, no,
Hold
no.
on.
It's a minute before 10.
Should I try to glue one more thing on?
Yes,
Aaron.
do it. We need
It's
one
gonna
more
glue
fail.
to your finger. Yes, yes. Try.
One more fail.
All right.
Alright.
Oh,
Drum
oh,
roll.
Since we have like 1 minute and Aaron's gonna glue himself no matter what we do, my daughter assembled her first zoanthrope.
Oh,
Ooh.
Excited about.
awesome.
She's doing battle damage and cutting pieces off of Tyranids that she builds. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just
She's
start with the
murked me in
uncure.
every battle we've played. She doesn't know the rules. I just tell her what dice to roll, and then I die. So it's going pretty
Sounds
well.
like a good time.
Yeah.
Next up on her hobby table, Carnifex, right?
Very soon. Very soon. Very soon. Maybe more than one, because they're pretty dope. But she's in love with the Turvagon or whatever the thing
The
is
little
that
guys?
spawns. No, that spawns all the little guys with
Oh,
the
the
guns.
mama one?
Yeah, exactly. And then the Moloch. So she's got, I gave her the codex and she went
You
through
should
and put
convert that
sticky
Turvagon
notes
to
on
have,
shit.
like, a Barbie upper body.
I did it.
Nah, she'd be like, that looks stupid.
I did it. Yeah, what is this gender stereotyping that you're doing? Hey. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
I was like, oh, your queen alien is awesome. She's like, no, that's a dude. It's so funny.
Hey, they're non-sexual.
So, Aaron, did you just
Asexual.
actually glue something and it didn't
Yeah.
break?
It didn't break, and then I immediately moved it off camera for proof.
Off camera for proof. Well done, Aaron. Well
No
done.
problem. No problem. Once again, thank you all for joining us on these Paint and Chats. It is always a good time to hang out with you. It's a good time to hang out with my friends as well. I hope that we inspire you to get whatever you want to get done, whether it's video games, I guess now, or also hobbying. Don't forget to like our sponsor, Uncure. Uncure, sponsor of this video. Go ahead and give that a like.
We should find a product that we like every time and be
Every
like,
time.
this is a really cool product and this is why you should like it too.
I feel like you talked about paper towels a lot last time.
It's
So-
entirely possible.
So
Maybe
paper
not.
towels is our previous product, and then of course we have the infamous at this point paint filter, which has also been a previous sponsor. As always, remember to hit that bell button so you don't miss an update. If you want to take your patronage to the next level, like all of our super fans, go ahead and check out our Patreon at patreon.com. Link in the notes below. And as always, we'll see you on the...
Mesa.
Tabletop.
You guys are
I think it's just table.
bad at
Oh, the table?
You're really bad at
Oh.
that. I'm pushing the,
We
I'm
are
pushing
really
the
bad at it.
stop button now.
You didn't do that before?